At the end of this month will be 4 months since I left my home in Philly. I've been traveling, sleeping in my car for more than half of the journey, but I was not sleeping in it for the whole thing. But I am living out my car right now. And I want to tell y'all a story. And the story is of the Phoenix and the Raven and their travels together in this world. How they've grown to communicate with each other, understand each other, love each other, trust each other, rely on each other. Here's their story. On December 28th, I was assaulted at work by an older white woman because she didn't get her way. And I told both of my managers, and one of them told me that I could take an extra 15 on my 15 or take extra time on my 15, and the other one just watched the security tape. So I opened a claim with Sedgwick, and they told me I did not have to go back to work until my case closed. Turns out my case wouldn't close until January 31st. You want to know what I did in that time? You want to know what I did with 30 extra fucking hours a week? The first thing I did was get a haircut. And I went to New York to visit my friend Jackie. And I dressed up and we walked around the city. And a nigga felt beautiful. I had been neglecting myself for so long that I couldn't believe that this was me. And I really enjoyed myself.
Yo, follow our series for our upcoming.
Then I came back to Philly and I was hanging out with Taro and Kiana until it was time to go back to school. And then I got back to school and I was hanging out with people I hadn't really gotten a chance to hang out with in a very long time.
I could change the world overnight. There'd be no such thing as goodbye.
Okay.
And you'd be standing right where you.
Then I started to realize what I was missing out on. You know, when my friends were at college events like basketball games or getting brunch together, I was at work. I also found my passion for working out. I was working out Monday through Friday and in a healthy way, doing it because I enjoyed it, not because I wanted to look a certain way, not because I wanted, a six-pack or whatever. Actually, I wanted a fat ass and to be thick, and I was getting there. Look at that. Look at that. Tell me I don't look like that. On January 30th, I had an idea to interview Black artists and entrepreneurs. I asked them 4 questions.
Hi, I'm Malik.
Hi, my name is Khadija.
What's going on, people? My name is Shad.
Hey, my name is Jasmine.
Hi, my name is Lamar. My pronouns are he, him, and his.
Use she and they pronouns.
My pronouns are she, her, and hers.
My pronouns are he, him, his.
My favorite moment in Black history
Will always, always, always be the Haitian Revolution. First Black-led revolution, first former slave to now sovereign state, first independent country in the Caribbean. Ain't nothing really could get better than that. We lit out here. As a Haitian, I'm very proud of my people. I'm proud of my people's history, and it's something that a lot of Black people or just people in color should look at Haiti's history more, because it's always overlooked.
My favorite moment in Black history has to be either Serena Williams' entire career, because like she's amazing, or when Moonlight actually won and the Oscars had that whole fiasco.
And what do you do?
I'm a DJ and producer based in Philly.
I'm the editor-in-chief of MSKF Magazine.
I run a visual blog on Instagram, and I create my own content. I collaborate with brands from time to time, but most of the time I just like to take pictures that I believe are aesthetically pleasing and make them look good together.
I'm a singer, producer, songwriter, and engineer. I do a lot of music. Catch me on iTunes and everything where you might listen to music at Just Shad. I love doing music, playing music. I've been doing music for 6 years now.
I'm a visual artist. I do painting, I do installation, I do performance. Yeah.
So after this Black History Month project, I thought I found my passion, or one of my passions, which I thought was video editing. So I wanted to just kind of take off and run with it. So I asked my homie Austin if I could record him for a workout video, and I was gonna make that joint very homoerotic, let me tell you. But Austin does not have the ability to be provocative, and I wasn't into it, to be honest. It still didn't click to me yet, though. Why? It didn't click to me why I wasn't into it. It was Friday morning, March 8th. I just left the gym, and I'm getting ready for work, making breakfast at the same time. And I put on my uniform shirt, and I just broke down crying. I was like, I can't be there anymore. Like, I understand. I was making, what, $18.41 an hour? And I was like, it's not worth my mental health being at jeopardy. They didn't value me, so I didn't need to be there. So I quit. And then everything was shut down because of COVID, which I don't have a problem with. However, I do have a problem with how it was handled. I'm talking from a standpoint of privilege when I say this. I was so upset. I felt in a way broken. I didn't want to be in college. And I discovered that after my first year there. And every time I told my grandma I didn't want to be in college, she would burst out into tears, saying, I just want to see my grandson graduate before I die, and I feel like God's going to keep me around long enough just to see you graduate. So every time I voiced how I was feeling about college, that would happen, and I'd be like, okay, fine, whatever, I'll stay. So the only thing that really got me through it was like the idea of me walking down an aisle in a cap and gown. Everyone's shouting my name. And I knew I wasn't going to get that anymore. I was frustrated with everything in life. I was 21. And I was like, damn, I am so tired of being discarded. Like, I'm just a piece of trash. Everywhere in society, like, it was just like, you're trash, you're trash, you're trash, you're trash. Hey, if anyone hasn't told you today, you're trash. And I seeped into a really, really bad So I was like, let me go see a psychic. She tells me everything's gonna be okay. And she was like, I don't think you'll have to worry about a job for at least the next 2 months. But after that, you need to start looking for a job. But don't commit to a job because this is a time to explore yourself. She said you're great at art, like whatever art you pursue, like is gonna be great. And the last card was like sadness and isolation. And if I spend these next 2 months how I'm supposed to, there will be no sadness and isolation. So I took her advice and I started doing everything that I enjoyed. Everything.
What? Wait, what? This is what? Yeah. What? Wow.
Are you ready to sing?
Yes?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Daniel. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Blow out your candles.
Okay.
Make a wish. I think you need an ashtray.
I just wanted to say that I'm very excited for my surprise party. I think I did a good job at like keeping it a secret from myself. Most people cannot do this. They cannot keep it a secret from themselves, but I can. And this is what I'm gonna do with that ability. I'm gonna throw myself a surprise party. Corona, you thought you had me, but she never got a nigga, okay? You thought you had me, but I'm always up. I may be down, but I'll get back up. How often do I take the time to step back? Now I have nothing but time for that. The soothing sound of the water hitting the rocks below. I sit back, inhale, and as I exhale, everything starts to slow. I can smell again, like that first breath of consciousness you take. That moment you smell the water and the dirt and the life beginning to grow once again after a calm winter. How have I been here so long without being here? How often do I smell the water? I straightened my hair for the first time and gave myself bangs. I mean, I was really doing and trying everything in order to express the pain that I was feeling and trying to turn it into something beautiful. Then I brought this guy home.
God, his teeth are so cute. I'm gonna die. I'm dying right now. Oh my God. I love you.
Oh my
God. I could die right now and be so satisfied.
I tried new outfits and went on dog dates. I became my own hero. Hey guys, welcome back to our cooking channel. What's on the menu for today, chef?
So today we're going to do jerk chicken with potatoes and some collards, southern style greens.
Okay. We also have two special guests for you guys today.
I'm going to slide over so they can slide in.
Yeah. Three special guests, I'm sorry. This is Guinness, Liv, Maya, and normally we do not condone picking up dogs in kitchens, but we really wanted to.
He can be seen.
You may or may not be wondering, you haven't mentioned anything about school. Let me tell you why. People don't understand that mental health affects the ability to produce work. Everyone around me was experiencing mental health issues. Like we were hurting, but I knew my professors weren't going to receive that. So I stopped going to class for like 3 weeks. No one heard from me. Maybe a month. Teachers would be emailing me, just didn't respond. After I had some time to find my happiness again, I was able to return. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I was refilling my Brita. Oh my God, you'll never believe what happened. I was refilling my Brita, and it was next to my laptop, and it spilled. And then it also spilled onto my phone, which was next to my laptop. I had no way of contacting you. I'm so sorry. I have to use my mom's laptop, but it's hard to do work because she's also a teacher. So she's on it all day, and then after all day. And I got out of a statistics paper. I got out of a presentation. I got out of a project. There was one downfall. There was a class that I had to write 20 papers for, but they were like 250 word papers. So I emailed that professor and was like, hey, like, can I get it incomplete and have extra time to do this work? And he agreed to it, right? So I'm like, cool, like, I'll do that. And then I only had to take one more class over the summer, right? That was the plan. So my school has a policy where you can take up to 2 classes the summer after you graduate. So I would have to take my additional course after I graduated. So I was still able to receive my cap and gown. So I got dressed up. I went home to surprise my family.
You got the
that I am truly, truly proud of you. You have been my mathematician from age 5. You have been my linguistic specialist from age 5. Because if anybody knew the math and the language skills and how to read and how to get everything together, it was you. And I've always been proud of you. It has been my joy and my pleasure. You know, and to follow you through the many stages of your life. I love you, and I know this is not the end. This is just the beginning of what you have and are going to offer to the world. And the world is your oyster. It awaits you. Make the difference in this world, Danny. I love you.
The growing outrage in Minneapolis, protesters clashing with officers in the streets over the death of a black man in police custody.
Nationwide, from Chicago to New York to Denver, there's mounting outrage over the death of 46-year-old George Floyd.
What's his name? George Floyd!
I'm never going to get my brother back. We need justice. We need justice. Yeah. Those 4 officers, they executed my brother in broad daylight.
And I found myself once again having this feeling. Once again, having to see how the world does not value people like me. Over and over again. That was my 2020. Being happy, white supremacy, patriarchy, capitalism, taking those things from me. And then I had to do it all again for them to take it right back. So I had to make a decision. I knew I was already struggling with virtual learning and trying to tackle like my mental illness, my depression. And it didn't work out so well the first time. So what would make me believe that it would work out this time? It's like, no, I have to make a decision right here, right now. What's more important right now? My life or a degree? I chose my life because my life matters. So I never got around to turning in those assignments because I was protesting. Me and my friends were protesting together. It was more than just protesting. It was more than just protesting. It was about loving each other and loving ourselves. So we played and laughed together.
What you gotta say, Mikey? Fuck these niggas.
They trying to, nigga.
I'm out here racing y'all niggas for one shit. Yeah, I'm good.
Nigga, you got an excuse every time.
This nigga, yo, he lost 3 times. He lost 3 times.
We sang and danced together.
I know that you feel a stone heart is a must, and even when it's gold, you feel like rust. The world gonna try to tell you our romance is corrupt. Our hearts are too tough, and even when we're soft, it's too hard to love us. In the media, they'll paint our reflection like a slave film or a Tyler Perry production. Front page news is how Tyrone killed his cousin, and on Black Twitter, we pin FM MCs against each other for nothing. You ain't know that our affliction was made for consumption? That this is how they sponsor our destruction? Cause hang the nigga, cause it's clear they don't love him, but they don't know about a black reconstruction.
So after that, I'm feeling charged up. My homies are feeling charged up. One day I get a call from my homie Reese, and he's like, you should come to the Parkway. Like, there's something happening here that you would really like. And I get there, and I see a bunch of tents. And turns out it's an encampment for people experiencing homelessness or houselessness. Immediately, I was like, yes. I called Key, Marcus, Clarissa, Jocelyn, Ish. We would go down there, see if they needed anything. They would tell us what they needed, go to the store, go buy it, drop it off.
It's good to get your hands in the dirt, because you get your hands in the dirt, you can feel the dirt, and it's also good for your hands. Yeah. You know, it's good for your hands to get a little dirty, and then just to play with the dirt. And if you can feel the dirt, it feels so like soft.
Yeah, I feel so grounded.
Yeah. Dirt is our friend. Dirt, you should wash up with it. You should like take a dirt shower.
Just like that.
Exfoliate your skin.
So I went back with her. What's up, YouTube? My name is Henry. About to take this little dirt bath.
Alright. Keep glowing.
You should just jump in.
How do you feel now?
It actually feels really good. Like, feels like I'm done with the Earthbender. I'm an Earthbender. Hi, YouTube. Like and subscribe.
We're brothers and sisters.
We're loving, we're having fun, we're getting together, you know what I mean?
Yeah, should we show them what we got built so far? Take that on a walk.
Gonna sneak out tonight. He's gonna take by her window. Cause it sure wants to go out. Everyone's here, man.
What's the planet here?
The chandelier
We got tomatoes pretty much around the edges and marigolds between them. We got those potatoes in the middle. We're gonna do something cool with that. Some strawberries. Yeah, and the potatoes will grow up big and bushy, and the strawberries will grow across it. So it's just like a whole plant ecosystem going on. Have you gardened before?
Oh yeah, I love gardening, man. I'm a big gardener. I love saving the community, saving the garden, saving the earth.
And at first we would spend like long periods of time there, but we kind of realized that they were their own community. Like, they didn't need us in the sense of like being there. They needed our support. Our community needed our support. And once they had that support, they were able to support each other. They were able to build their own community. All it took was for people of privilege to give back. Me and Maya also finally got around to painting and finishing setting up our apartment. We had been there for almost a year now. We never got to it. And it turned out lovely. Like, I loved walking into that space. It was so nice. Then I got an email from our landlord. And it was like, we've noticed you have a pet. You need to either get rid of the pet or move out. And so I was like, I'm not getting rid of my child. Like, he brings me so much happiness. And that was the consequence of my own decisions, because before I got my dog, his name is Tino. It's short for Quarantino. But before I got Tino, I read the lease and I saw that it said pets aren't allowed unless you ask for permission. And everybody in my building had a goddamn dog. So I was like, F it, I'm gonna get a dog and I'm not gonna ask. And unfortunately, someone on the second floor kept letting their cat out, and the cat was spraying on the carpet, and they wound up having to pay $6,000 to get the carpet replaced. So that's why they started to enforce that rule. So it's like, okay. Me and Key started looking for places to live, but I wasn't working yet. So I wasn't having any luck at all. I asked my grandma to co-sign on the lease for me, and she said no. And I was hurt because in May, when we were talking about taking my additional course, which became 2 courses because that incomplete turned into an F. She was talking about co-signing for me to take out, what, $4,000 so I can take those 2 courses. And oh my God, it hurt so bad because I felt like they believed in and supported the Danny with a college degree, but they didn't believe in and support the Danny that valued his happiness, that wanted to be happy. My happiness didn't matter to them. They couldn't see that the decisions that I was making for myself was because I wanted to be happy. I don't want to be miserable all my life. I don't want to be miserable going to work. I don't want to be miserable going to school. Like, my happiness is important. So she presented me with 2 options. So my uncle owns a house on the block that I grew up on. And a lot of my family lives on this block as well. But he rents out this house. So my cousin was staying downstairs. My other cousin was in the back room. There was some man in the front room, and I was going to get the middle room for $300 a month. For $300 a month, I would have my room and bathroom. That's it. And option number 2 was my family owns a barbershop, and there's 2 apartments above it. My sister lives on the bottom floor apartment, and the upper floor apartment was empty. It needed to be fixed. And she was saying that I could move in there temporarily, clean it up, fix it up. There was a wall that needed to be torn down. And if I did that, I could be there for a couple months, but I would have to pay way more than $300. And so I was kind of just like, I had to decide. I had to decide in which way I'd like to be exploited by my family. So I chose the $300 room. And my great-grandparents' house is 3 doors down. And their house is actually next to my mother's house. But my great-grandparents are both deceased, and they have been for a while, but they still have the house. And I started working. In education, and it was all like virtual. So they allowed me to use my great-grandparents' house for work. And while I was in there, might as well use the kitchen, right? So that was that. So August came around, I started work, and I moved out of my apartment and into this room. And this room was so small. And it wasn't enough space for my dog. He likes to play around a lot. And yeah, I wanted more for him. But I found myself to be a bird. A bird who had learned to use its wings. And while I was flying, realizing that I had to come back down to my cage. I had to put myself back into a cage. And I started to feel miserable. I liked what I was doing with work, but on the other hand, I felt like I was just sitting there watching virtual learning, watching the U.S. fail students. Specifically, Hispanic, Latino. It was a hard thing to watch because I felt like it was hard. It was hard because those kids deserve so much better than what they're getting. They deserve so much better, and they're not getting it. These white kids are out here getting it, but these kids are not. So in 2018, I had an urge to start recording my dreams. So I kept a dream journal. And in August, I had 2 dreams. The first dream, I had a dream I told Taro how I felt, or how I've been feeling. He was about to get into my car when I told him it would cost $200 for him to get in. When he asked why, I told him how I felt like I was being taken advantage of. He asked how much for his cousin, and I told him $450. He called her and told her, and she didn't like that. As I was continuing to explain myself, he started to walk away. So I was like, "You really gonna do that, bro?" And he told me how I was hurting him and continued to walk away. I went into a shop and put my book bag down for a second. When I went to retrieve it, and a group of boys surrounded me. They asked what was in the bag, and I told them nothing. They didn't buy it, and they tried to steal my laptop. I screamed, "Mom!" And suddenly, everyone I knew appeared, walking from all directions. They gathered around us, and they told me they'd never let anything happen to me. There wasn't a familiar face in the crowd, but in that dream, I knew that I knew every single one of those people. Second dream. I had a dream that I stayed at my grandma's house for a few nights. While I was there, I kept hearing Kid Cudi's lyrics, "Love is the rule." It kept playing in my mind. So I listened to my heart, which led me to leave my grandma's house and make my way towards my great-grandma's house. And their houses are a block apart. On my way there, I ran into this guy. You know, he had came over to chill, whatever. But in the dream, he asked me, did I remember much of our previous sexual encounter? And he asked me how our sex was. And I was like, we didn't have sex. My dick didn't get hard. And he remembered, and he told me no hard feelings, and we should link again soon. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I went to my great-grandma's house, my great-grandparents' house, and I started inspecting. I went to my great-grandfather's room, and there was nothing there. I checked the middle room, there was nothing there. And by my great-grandma's room, there's a drawer in which they have room keys on. And my great-grandma's key is attached to a red string. And as soon as I looked at the string, Kid Cudi's lyrics turned from "Love is the rule" to "Love is the key." And so I opened the door and I went in. And my eyes immediately fell upon a plush, small, blue heart-shaped object. I opened it up and fumbled across a memory card. On the card was evidence. Not really sure what it was. But I sent it off. And it freed someone. Like, it was in the newspaper how on the memory card was evidence to free somebody. And so I went back downstairs. And I saw my great grandmom and my great grandfather, and they looked so fucking beautiful. And my aunt and my cousin Cash were also standing there. And at the time, the best way that I would describe those dreams is as if my mind was asleep but my heart was awake in both of them. And I recently discovered new terminology that I think could better describe what was happening, and that is my portal was open. And after both of those dreams, I woke up knowing that those were my ancestors communicating with me. Those were my ancestors telling me that they'll never let anything happen to me. Those were my ancestors telling me that I need to follow my heart. And I was getting signs. I felt like I was getting signs that I needed to make my way to the West Coast. So, you know, I'm still living in this tiny room or whatever, and I'm trying to save my money so that I could move out. And my grandmom's like, I want you off my phone bill. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I start paying my own phone bill. And then my mom's like, I want you off my car insurance. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I start paying my own car insurance. And by the time we factored in all the costs compared to what I was making, I was never going to move out of that room, ever. So I said, fuck it. If I'm borderline homeless, I'm gonna be homeless. Or if I'm borderline houseless, I'm just gonna be houseless. So I packed up all my shit. Got rid of all of it. Some things I sold on OfferUp. Other things like furniture and my clothes, I took to the encampment. And when this is happening, this is October now, and they finally got what they were protesting for. They got housing. The city of Philadelphia gave the organization 50 homes. So they were all getting ready to move in. So I took all my clothes and furniture there, and everything else I sold. And I was set to leave October 24th.
So what do we do? How do we, how do we create contact between the inside and the outside? Between prison and what prisoners call the free world. Prisoners see us as living in the free world. I don't know how free this world is, because it certainly isn't free for a lot of people who are out here. But at least we can take advantage of the fact that we have the ability to move around in ways that people who are inside don't.
How's it going today?
Today's been a stressful day. I still got my bonnet on, and so it's like, what time is it?
What time is
like
it?
11?
Yeah, just about.
Still got my bonnet on. These two are bringing me out for brunch, for lunch, for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
This will be my final meal in Philly.
Wow. You sound like Jesus. I feel like I'm a disciple or apostle, whatever you call him. What's the first city you're going to? What's the first city you're going to?
So the plan is to go to Atlanta first. However, that's a 12-hour drive, and I do not like driving that long. So we're gonna go to Norfolk, Virginia, and go to the beach, and then probably sleep in the car, and then make our way to Atlanta. I really don't know how long I'm gonna be in Atlanta. We'll see when we get there.
Depending on how it goes.
Yeah.
Definitely you're going to Tennessee?
Yep.
Okay. That sounds cool.
Tennessee gonna have.
I've heard good things about Tennessee. Like it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I really want to go for like the music culture.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't wait for New Orleans. That's like
New Orleans.
I'm really looking forward to it.
New Orleans. I can't wait to hear about Houston. When you go to Houston.
All the 4 cities in Texas: Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and Austin.
Yes.
Memorize
them. And then Grand Canyon. Are you going to the Grand Canyon?
Grand Canyon? Oh damn. That's crazy, bro.
Did you know it's in Arizona?
Yeah, I knew that.
I thought it was in Utah all my life.
Does it sound like it's I thought it was in Utah as well.
Oh, I thought it was in Arizona.
Oh, be smart. And there's also a Grand Canyon in LA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's another one? I didn't know
It's
that.
another one. Yeah.
So you went from Tennessee straight to Arizona?
No, the plan is Atlanta, then Memphis, then New Orleans, and then Colorado.
There's this politician, right? And he's clearly ill. Like, he's old, but he's like nothing's wrong because he doesn't want to give up his seat. And it's crazy. Like these are the people who represent us, though. This old 80-year-old white man who's clearly like about to die, but he's still making decisions that affect us. So like, to me, that was just crazy.
One time I went to a museum in DC, and I think the Hirshhorn, they changed out their art. So this like specific thing was like politically charged art. But one of the pieces was like, I want a president like who's a fag. I want a president who's had to get an abortion. Like I want a president,
a real person.
Yeah, like someone who experienced like hardships and inequalities, not someone that's had like an easy life their entire life.
Silver spoon.
Yeah.
So I said goodbye to these two, my son Tino, my godson Neo, and I said goodbye to my sister and Taya, and I was on my way. What is the behavior of the phoenix? How does it act upon its descent to the ground? Does it fear the ground, or does it embrace it? Can the phoenix accept death without knowing what's next? Can the phoenix accept death without knowing what's next?
Another